Hi everybody, in today's video I want to talk about how I prepared my toddler for becoming a big sister. It's a big topic and I know a lot of you probably thinking about this who are pregnant with your second baby or thinking of having a second baby. How on earth will my toddler adjust? I was really worried about it. I did a lot of research about it in my early pregnancy and even before I got pregnant. And I actually took a lot of steps to help her make that transition. And she actually has adjusted really well to becoming a big sister. I talked in my last video about that. You can see it here. Definitely go back and watch that video to see what the end result is of all of these steps that I took in place. But in this video, I want to share the actual steps with you so that some of you can try some of these things with your older child if you're expecting another baby. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is TJ. I'm the mum now to 2 kids. One of them, my toddler, is 2.5. This little man at the time of filming is almost 6 weeks. He'll be 6 weeks in 3 days. And I'm a single mother by choice. At the time of having my little girl, I was 48. Actually, I was 50 when I got pregnant with him. And I gave birth to him a week after turning 51. So I'm an older mummy. And so my children were both conceived using donor eggs and donor sperm, and they're full siblings, which is really beautiful. Do you think he looks a bit like Baby Star? I think their eyes and their mouth are very similar. So should we tell them about all the things Mummy did to prepare little Star, Baby Star, for your arrival? Because we did a lot. I did a lot of things. So we read a lot of books together about becoming a big sister. You can get lots of books, but becoming a big sister, becoming a big older brother, they are so helpful. I'll put a list down the bottom of the books I got. There's lots of different books you can get, but get a mix of ones that talk about being pregnant, what's happening in mummy's tummy. We had one beautiful book which shows the tummy getting bigger each week, and there's a little door, like a paper door, that the child can open and look in and see the baby getting bigger. So she read that a lot. There's also books about, the day that the baby comes home, and then there's books about like raising a baby, looking after a baby, and how the older sibling can help. And they teach things like, one of our funniest things that we still talk about now is little babies only drink milk, big sisters eat cupcakes, big sisters eat strawberries. And she still says all the time, I eat strawberries and bananas and cupcakes. Baby only drinks milk. Like, we read these books so often. We literally every single night for about 3 months in the lead up to the birth, our routine was get into bed, cuddle, mummy reads one of these books, and she would usually pick 2 or 3 or 4 of them. She got to the point where she knew these books completely by heart. She could pick up the book and literally say the entire story, not word for word, but very close to word for word. I also have made another video, which I'll put here or here, somewhere up here, about how I had to actually doctor those books a little bit. I had to alter those books because those books always had mums and dads in them, and I'm a solo mum family. There's no dad here, and I knew it would confuse little Star if there was pictures of dad all the time in the books. So I found ways to erase the dad and repaint the background of the picture, and all sorts of creative ways to turn the dad into my sister and things like that. It's hilarious. So watch that video if you want to get ideas for how you can change books if you're also a solo mom, or if you're in a lesbian family or gay family or something. Those ideas really helped, because there actually are not really any books that I could find that are about becoming a big sister or becoming a big brother if you're in a different family structure, like a gay couple or a solo mom or something like that. It's really disappointing. Anyway, so reading those books really helped, and I know they helped because she still says the things from those books. And I can say to her, remember in the book how we have to be quiet around the baby? And so because the books teach you, when the baby's asleep, we talk quietly, we play outside, we play quiet games, things like that. So those books just helped so much. And they got her really used to the idea of being a big sister, but they also taught her a lot about that babies just eat, poop, and sleep. That's all they do. So she wasn't expecting a baby to play with her or talk to her. And she still says things to me like, babies don't talk, babies sleep, babies eat, babies poop. So another thing I did was I tried to get little Star a little bit comfortable being around babies. So anytime I had an opportunity to go visit a friend who just had a baby, I would take her with me and go and spend time with that mum and that baby. And there was a couple of opportunities where she even got to sit with me, and there was a 3-month-old baby, and she would just stroke the little baby's hair while I was talking with the mum, and I would say to her, be gentle, She's a very gentle child, so I knew that it was safe to do that with her. I knew she wasn't going to throw the baby or hit the baby or anything, but still I sat with her and I was like, touch the baby gently, and just did that a few times with friends who had, you know, a 6-week-old baby or a 3-month-old or a 6-month-old baby. So that is definitely good if you have the opportunity to take your toddler around a baby. Now, if they're a rougher child, that's different. You might not let them touch the baby. We might at least let them watch the baby, you know, interact a bit with the babies. That really helps. So she saw that it wasn't just books, that these were actually real babies. And anytime we're out in the street and we saw a baby, say, look, there's a baby. It's probably about 3 months old. You think it's a boy or it's a girl? And we'll talk about babies. As well, she's always played with the baby doll. She's always had this little black doll that she loves. That was given to her on her first birthday, and it's her favorite thing. She sleeps with it everywhere. But I also bought her a couple of other dolls, just so it wouldn't just be about that doll. It was also about other babies. And we just played with them a lot. And she already played with them. She already loved wrapping them in things, but I was a little bit more specific with playing with them. Like I bought her a doll that actually had bits, like boy bits on it. So because her other doll's quite a generic doll, it could be a boy or a girl, I bought her a doll that had boy bits on it so we could change his nappy and say, look, it's a boy, and change his nappy and change his diaper and stuff, because I knew that would prepare her for when this one comes, because this one has totally different bits than Baby Star has. And I thought she's going to get a shock when she sees me change the nappy and there's like different stuff down there than she's got. So that was good. And I also bought just cheap, not expensive stuff, but like a little set off Amazon that had like a little bassinet, little doll-size bassinet, little doll-size bouncer, little doll-size pram or stroller, you know, things like that. You can find those on Amazon. There's lots of them. And that was good because she would like practice pushing her doll around the house in the pram, practice putting a baby in a stroller. And then I could say things like, when you put your baby in the bassinet, don't put a blanket on your baby. We don't put blankets on babies. And I could start teaching her some of the things about babies through this doll play. Now, it's going to depend if your child likes playing with dolls or not. My daughter loves playing with dolls, so that was easy. But I made sure that we did a bit of learning about babies through her doll play. And actually, somebody gave me an amazing idea, which I didn't actually do because I didn't have time. But if you have time for this, I think it's actually a brilliant idea. I encountered this suggestion from someone that you buy a baby doll for your child, and instead of giving it to them to play with, you keep it for yourself, and you basically act as if it's your newborn. So in the month or two leading up to the birth, you carry it in a carrier, you put the doll on your boob, you put the doll into the bassinet, and your older child gets used to you being busy and occupied with this baby, and they take all the jealousy out on this doll baby, so that by the time the actual newborn comes, they're no longer jealous. Now, I didn't do that. I bought a doll to do that. But in the end, I just gave it to her and it became her toy, because I just realized I don't have time to nurse a fake baby and get the fake baby to sleep. I don't have time. I'm trying to get 4 billion things finished before this baby comes. If you have the time, I think it's a good idea. As it turned out, little Star was not jealous at all, so she didn't need a month of being jealous with a fake baby. And I kind of wonder, would she have been jealous of a fake baby in the way that she's not jealous of him? She's not jealous of him because she loves him. And as I said in my last video, she's been connected to him on a spirit level for a long time. You know, they came in together spiritually. They also were created through IVF at the same time. Like, I feel like she's known this baby for a long time. But with a fake plastic baby, she might not have had that. She might have actually been jealous of a fake plastic baby if I'd been cuddling it all day, feeding it all day. I don't know. So I don't know how much that would have helped, but I thought it was an interesting idea, so I'm passing it on. I did not implement that one, but you may want to implement. If you do, please let me know in the comments. Come back to this video. Let me know if it worked, if you felt it was helpful. You're sucking your finger right now. Do you want your dummy back? So another thing I did with little Star was I talked to her a lot. Like in the lead up to me going to the hospital, in the week leading up, I told her every day, I'm going to be going to the hospital. Little kids can't go to the hospital. Only mummies can go to the hospital when a baby comes. And I'll be in the hospital for a little bit. And then when the baby's born, we'll come home from the hospital. And so I really talked to her a lot about that. But I also talked to her a lot about babies. So when the baby comes, he'll be very small. When the baby comes, he won't be able to do many things. He will just eat and sleep and poop, and we can cuddle him. I riffed off the stuff in the books, but just talked about it a lot, so she sort of knew what to expect, and I think that really helped. One thing which everyone suggests that you do, which I did do, I don't know if it made any difference, is that you give your toddler a present that comes from the baby. So I bought a special present for her. It was a little stuffed kangaroo that had a little joey pouch in it with a little baby kangaroo in it. And on the day we brought the baby home, I said, here's a present from the baby. She unwrapped it and opened it. But to be really honest, she's hardly even played with that kangaroo. So I don't think it made that much difference to her. I think the baby was the present. I think in baby Star's case, little Star's case, this child was the present. She thinks of him as the present. She loves this little child. I talked about it in my last video, how much she loves him. She cuddles him all day. She's constantly asking, can I hold the baby, mommy? Can I cuddle the baby? Can baby cuddle me? So she's way more interested in cuddling the baby than that stuffed kangaroo, like 1,000 times more. So maybe I chose the wrong present. I don't know. But I don't think that particular suggestion did much in our case. But in other cases, it might. It might really help. So definitely do it. It can't hurt to give the child a present from the baby. And then another thing I did, I think I saw this idea in some blog or forum or Facebook group or something, but I definitely took it a lot further and I've really run with it. They said just have a stash of toys next to you when you're breastfeeding that can only be played with when you're nursing. And I have taken that and really run with it. And this is a tip that I credit to myself and it has really helped. So I'm definitely going to pass this one on. Please use it. I've got this bag. It's like a soft woven bag. It's quite big. It has handles. I thought I'd carry it around the house with me. Actually, I just leave it in the bedroom and we'll use it when I'm doing nighttime feed in the evening, getting ready for bedtime, or early morning feeds. Or sometimes just when we're just hanging out in the bedroom, just chilling out, we're having quiet time. So she's got this bag, and I call this bag the booby bag. And in it are a bunch of toys. Like there's some little finger puppets. There's some stickers because my daughter loves stickers. There's a little game where there's pieces of clothing that you can put on this flat wooden picture of a girl, and you can move the pieces of clothing, change her skirt, change her pants, and all that. Different toys like that. Really toys that my daughter loves, but she only gets to play with them when she's using the booby bag, and that only gets pulled out when I'm nursing. So I got baby on boob. I say to her, do you want to go get your booby bag? She knows where it is. She goes and gets it. She just sits on the bed, plays with her stickers, plays with her finger puppets, plays with her dressing thing while I'm feeding the baby for an hour. And she's happy as Larry sitting there right there. And so what I did was I made a bunch of different bags. I think of them as show bags that I could put in the booby bag. That every 2 weeks I can rotate a different bag and empty it into my booby bag. But I pre-made them. I pre-made them all in the last week when I was pregnant. Now, if I'd run out of time or he had come earlier, they wouldn't have got made. But in retrospect, I look back, I'm so glad I made them because I think these have really, really helped. I think I even bought an Etch-a-Sketch to put in one of the bags. Got a little digital camera. Like I spent a bit of money on it because I thought these will be toys she'll play with for years, but I'm going to give them in the newborn phase in the booby bag instead of giving them to her on her birthday or at Christmas or whatever. And they've been so good. I've swapped it twice now. After 2 weeks, I swapped it. I'm probably swap it again next week for the third lot of booby bag contents. And it's so good because she doesn't get sick of them. And when we're in the room at night and I'm nursing, and we're in the room in the morning and I'm nursing, or we're just having quiet time in the bedroom and she's bored or something, I say, darling, get something from the booby bag. And she goes and gets it, brings the booby bag over, empties it out and plays with all the things in it, plays with the stickers or plays with whatever. It's been such a godsend. I highly recommend calling her the booby bag. She thinks it's hilarious because I'm doing booby with the baby. She loves it. And I highly recommend you try this strategy. You maybe don't have to go crazy and make 5 show bags. You could just have one lot of toys that you put in the booby bag and keep them for when you're nursing. Your child's only allowed to play with them when the baby's nursing. Oh, you're falling asleep. And on a similar note, I've also got a stash of books because she loves books that I keep in the area where I nurse him in our bedroom. I've also got a little set of books. I'm no longer reading the You're Becoming a Big Sister books. I've got a set of new books and I read to her while I'm nursing him. I realize I can do a lot of things with little Star while I'm nursing him. I mean, nursing only takes one hand. You hold the baby like this, the other hand's free. So, here you go, sweetie. So I'll have him on my boob and then my little girl sits here, like cuddles in here, and I hold a book and we read a book and she loves it. Some of you watching this will be in a situation where your child is already in daycare 5 days a week, so this won't be relevant. But some of you watching it might be in a situation where your child is at home 24/7 and isn't used to being around other people. My number one step is in the lead up to the birth, in the pregnancy, start letting your child be cared for by other people, even if it's just for half an hour, even if it's just small steps. Get them slowly more used to it because that has made a huge difference for us. I'm a solo mum with no family living here, so she'd only ever spent time with me. And at the start of this year, she had literally never been away from me, not even for an hour. Never. Not with a babysitter, not with a grandparent, nothing. I didn't feel any need to send her to daycare. I work from home. I found ways to work from home. I've recorded some audio seminars sharing the tips and tricks I've found for working by myself from home while looking after a baby and a toddler. So if you're interested in those, just check them out at my website, mybabydream.club. I really felt that for my family, spending the first 2 years, just the two of us together, was really important for her to be very securely attached and very stable within herself. So I knew that this baby was going to be born in June. How was I going to get her from that to the point where she'd be okay with my attention being a little bit split on a second baby and not always on her, because she'd had all my attention for 2 years? So the first thing I did was to start her in daycare 2 days a week. I've made lots of videos about that because that was a big change for little Star, baby Star. She was very distressed, obviously saying goodbye to me, and that slowly got better, but it took about 2 months to get from 20 minutes of crying down to 30 seconds of crying. So that was the very first step. And then I hired a woman. Basically, we're doing a trade where she lives in my house for free, no rent, in return for helping me 1 hour a day around the house, and then also helping me to take little Star to daycare twice a week. I started to get her used to her coming in the car with us. This was in the month leading up to the birth, because Dale moved in a month before the birth. And then she started practicing taking her in and out of the car seat, opening the buckles, all of that stuff, because in the beginning she wouldn't let anyone open her car seat buckles. And then Dale started to drive and I would sit in the passenger seat. So that was a transition. And then I take little Star to swimming once a week. And I was like, how on earth am I going to keep taking her to swimming lessons after I have a baby? I won't be able to. A beautiful friend of mine who's kind of like a grandmother figure to little Star, she really wanted to take her to swimming lessons. So I'd been having Christina come with us to swimming lessons in the lead up to the birth. And little Star would not swim with her, would not go in her arms in the water. She'd just cling to me. And then about 2 weeks before I went into labor, I came down with some sort of weird food poisoning. And so I couldn't take baby Star to swimming. So my friend Christina said, why don't I take her by myself? And I was like, well, good luck. Well, what happened was little Star was really upset for the first 20 minutes in the car trip. She cried and cried and cried. But towards the end of the time there, she said to Christina, our mummy always comes back. Because one of the things I'd be doing, which I forgot to tell you, is I've been reading this book to her for months called Owl Babies. And it's about a mummy owl who flies off to get food and then always comes back. It's beautiful. So she said, our mummy always comes back. And then they went swimming and she actually went in Christina's arms because I wasn't there. She had no choice. She swam in her arms. She did incredibly well. So my friend Christina came back that day, confident now. We can do this. We can handle her when you're in the hospital. And I think baby Star realized too that she could do this without mummy there. She managed to drive in a car there and back without mummy there. She managed to go in the water. She managed to swim. That was the turning point for her. And for me, I realized, oh, she can do this. We all realized she could do this. And so then I just built on that. So we just increased the amount of time she was spending with other people. So that by the time I went into labor and went to the hospital, she was much more used to being away from me. And as I said in my last video, she handled it really, really well in the week when I was in the hospital. But that stuff also helped prepare her for becoming a big sister, because remember, she's going from having my attention 24/7 to now not having my attention 24/7. And part of that was helping her learn to be attended by other people. And she's now used to other people looking after her, other people giving her food, other people changing her nappy, other people playing with her, which means that if I'm busy with the baby, she is okay to have someone else change her nappy or someone else bring her food or someone else drive her somewhere. And that has made a huge difference. That's made it so much easier for her to become a big sister. If I hadn't done any of those things and she was still used to me looking after her 24/7, she would probably be a lot more jealous now than she is of this baby. The key in all of this is she's not missing out because there's a new baby. She's still having mummy cuddle her. She's still playing next to mummy. She's still having mummy read her books. She's still going to daycare. She's still going swimming. She's still doing all the things she normally does. That hasn't been impacted by having the baby. So a lot of the steps I've taken have been thinking of ways that she can still do the things she normally did. Like she still gets cuddled to sleep at night because I make sure that I wait till the baby's asleep and then we cuddle to sleep. And if the baby wakes up, then we stop and we wait till the baby's asleep again and we try cuddling to sleep so she can still have that experience. I'm not trying to make her learn to go to sleep without being cuddled. I'm not changing big things in her life. Actually, nothing has changed in her life. Nothing has changed. Not the way she eats, not the way she naps, not the way she sleeps, not the things she does. Not one thing has changed in her life. The only new thing is that there's now an extra person who she gets to cuddle and love. Other than that, her life is the same. And I honestly think that's the biggest tip I can give you. Like, try and find ways that the older one is not going to be impacted. They're not going to have to stop doing this activity or stop doing that thing or stop being put to bed, or the bedtime routine's not going to get changed. Like, keep everything the way it is. Just think of creative ways to enable your toddler to keep doing what they're doing. I think that's probably the number one thing I've done. And when I look back and I see how she's just very, very happy, not jealous, loves the baby, I think a large part of it's because her life hasn't changed in any tangible, practical way, other than the 5 days I went to the hospital. Other than that, really nothing has changed for her, except she's got this bonus new beautiful person in her that she loves. And he's just fallen asleep just when I'm at the end of the video. It's so funny. I should have just waited half an hour and filmed the video later, but that's okay. You were awake for your first ever video. Alright guys, well that's pretty much everything I did to help prepare my toddler little star for the coming of her little brother. So I hope that helps. Try some of those things, do them. Let me know in the comments if you've tried different things, because there'll be people watching this who will be looking for ideas how to prepare their older child for the coming of a sibling. So if you've got other strategies that I didn't do, put them in the comments, because that will really help anyone who's watching the video. Let me know if you try any of these suggestions that I've shared with you. Tell me if they work. Over here, I'll put another video I've made about having 2 babies, becoming a mum to a second child, or being a solo mum. Hope you find it really helpful. And until my next video, I'm sending you so much love, so much baby dust. Bye guys. Say bye-bye. You were asleep. He also can't talk.